talk about different property organizers and what that means. Okay, so the first property we're going to talk about here is our commutative property. Okay, so our commutative property and multiplication property only. Okay, so the main idea is that the order of values do not matter. I'm sorry, the order of values do not matter. So some examples of that would be A plus B is equal to B plus A. 1 plus 7 is equal to 7 plus 1. X plus Y. Whoops, let me see if I can't do that a little better. X plus Y is equal to Y plus X. Okay, so next thing we're going to talk about is associative properties. Again, addition and multiplication. So grouping of values does not matter. Okay, grouping of values does not matter. Okay, so if we have A plus B in parentheses plus C, it equals A plus B plus C, parentheses. Okay, so see how the order that they're in doesn't really matter as long as we are adding and subtracting them. This only works with, 3 digits. Okay, so A multiplied by B multiplied by C is equal to A multiplied by B, multiplied by C. Okay? All right, so the next thing we're going to look at is identification property. Properties are also addition and multiplication. Okay? So everything stays the same. Okay, so what does that mean? That means A plus 0 is equal to A, and A times 1 is equal to A. All right, so the next property we're going to look at is inverse property. So this is also addition and subtraction. We are using opposites. We're using opposites, sorry, my pen's not working, to cancel a value, okay? So what does that mean? A plus negative A equals 0. X times 1 over X is equal to 1, okay? So we're canceling things out to the opposite things out. So if you take 1 plus a negative 1, it becomes 0, okay? Because you're essentially adding 1 minus 1, and 1 minus 1 is 0, okay? So 0 product property is pretty much saying that multiplying by 0 always equals 0. And I'm sure you guys know this. We learned this back in elementary school. 17 times 0 is equal to 0. Negative A times 0 is equal to 0. So those are pretty easy concepts, okay? Distributive property is something that we're learning and we're going to continue to learn and use throughout algebra, okay? That's something you are constantly going to need, okay? So multiplying a value to an expression inside of parentheses. Whew, that parenthesis was kind of crazy, but that's a parenthesis there, okay? So what does that mean? 2x plus 7 equals 2x plus 14. So you would use the distributive property to figure this out. And we will go more into detail about distributive properties and how to work out a distributive property later on. But I just want you to get the idea of properties, okay? So another way to do a distributive property would be A times B minus 3 is equal to AB minus 3A. Okay, so I want you guys to get the idea and the concept of that. All right, so we have one more page of notes that we're going to take, and this page we just have the top of our notes that we are taking. So it shouldn't be that hard. It shouldn't take that long. You're going to see this page again when we get to our guided notes, because the bottom of this is what we're going to be doing for guided notes, as well as getting started with a couple of your independents, because your independent practice is a lot to it today, okay? So idea is a value always equals itself. Sorry, that's an E. Itself, okay? So let's think of an example of this. So 16 equals 16. 7x equals 7x. 4y squared equals 4y squared. Okay, so all of those things. All right, so a symmetric property. Symmetric property. So let's think about what symmetric means. Symmetric means that it's the same on one side as it is on the other. So if A equals B, then B equals A. Okay, so if it looks like one thing on one side, it looks like the other thing. It looks like one thing on the other side. So if x equals 3, then you guessed it, 3 equals x. Very good. Okay, so I think you got the concept of that one. I'm not going to write any more examples out, but the next one's a little bit harder. So transitive property. Transitive property states that if A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C. Okay? Sorry, that's a little messy there. So the transitive property is just a little bit different, and it's definitely a little different of a concept than what you just saw with symmetric. So if 4 plus 3 equals 7, then 7, whoops, let me fix my 7 there. 7 equals the square root of 49. Sorry, and 7 equals the square root of 49. Then 4 plus 3 equals the square root of 49. Okay, so it's just a little different way of looking at things. Okay, so I will see you all back in just a few minutes on our Google Meet, where we will go over the bottom of the sheet for guided practice, as well as we'll go over a couple of our independent practices. Okay, all right, see you soon.